Hi everyone, I'm Fadden. Thank you so much for joining us today on This Is the Day. And Father Reed, a very, very busy program today.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great program, though. Audrey Summers, producer and host of Stories of Faith, Megan's Miracle, which is going to air on the Catholic TV network next month, joins us from Livonia, Michigan. And Father Tad Pacholczyk will help us to address the ongoing debate over the so-called HHS Mandate. His specialty, of course, is in bioethics. And in our Faith Out Loud segment today, we're going to meet Nick Harmon, who's an usher at his home parish.
Kevin, what we hear about in the news today?
Jay, the Pope rings the official International Eucharistic Congress bell at the Vatican. The U.S. bishops have released a 5-page statement of solidarity and commitment in defense of religious freedom. And in a new study, religious congregations are becoming more technologically savvy. All those stories ahead in the news. Jay?
All that and much more right now on This Is the Day. Hello, I'm Fadden. Thank you so much for joining us today on This Is the Day. I'm joined by my great friends, Kevin Nelson and Father Reed. How are you today?
Good. I'm wearing the green.
You're wearing the green for St. Patrick's. Well, you know what? I'm going to wear the green tomorrow for Mass. I'll wear some green. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. I get to celebrate Mass tomorrow. Looking forward to that.
Well, and I'll be there too, serving.
Big day. Big day. You want to know why?
Why? Because,
and you might not know this, but the Catholic TV network, our national headquarters here, is within a parish, and we love that, but the parish is the parish of St. Patrick of Ireland.
Do you know what my middle name is? Patrick.
Is it really?
James
I
Patrick.
didn't know that.
Yeah, see, these
How do
things
you
we
like
learn.
that?
You know me for all these years, and you didn't know that my middle name was Patrick.
I didn't. I knew it was P.
Yeah.
Now, my middle name is P, too, but it's not Patrick.
Hey, I have to say a special happy birthday to Caitlin Bowles. She is 13 today.
Caitlin.
She's on my basketball team.
13.
13 today.
It should be 13 again.
Big game tonight.
Oh, yeah, and if they win?
Then we're in the semifinals. If we win that, we'd be in the finals. But we have to win tonight.
They're good, too.
My team's good, and the team we're playing is very good.
It's going to be a tough game.
It's going to be a tough game. So we'll see what we can do. And also, we have the prayer box that is right behind you. We've got a lot of new prayers in there, so please remember them. And we pray especially today for all of those people in Michigan. There were some terrible storms there.
Yeah, Dexter. Not too far from Detroit, actually, an F3, which is a severe tornado. So really, our prayers go out to them. Miraculously, no one was killed or seriously injured, but still, the devastating effects of a storm like that, can affect people for months and years down the road.
It's been unbelievable this year. The weather has just been so unusual. I know on the East Coast it's been much warmer than usual, and then we've had these terrible tornadoes and storms, and it has been almost a terrifying year in some places, and I'm sure in Michigan it was like that.
So we're going to put the people of Dexter, Michigan, in our prayer box, right?
Yep, we'll put it on a piece of paper, and there it'll go.
Hey, speaking of shout-outs, I got to thank Nancy. Nancy, thank you so much for all these wonderful cookies, which we shared with all of our staff.
Oh,
Nancy's one of our great viewers here on Catholic TV.
She's made people very happy. But you know what I'm happy about? Our Faith Out Loud segment.
Faith Out Loud.
I'm happy that Nancy sent us the cookies.
Nick?
It's Nick today.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to tell us why he believes in the faith right now on Faith Out Loud.
I'm Nick Harmon from the Diocese of Lansing. What appeals me as a young Catholic youth is being able to help out my church as an usher and be a core team leader for the youth group and be able to come down to CYC. I'm Nick Harmon, that's my Faith Out Loud.
Good man.
This seems to be a Michigan day today for us.
Yeah.
Because we had Nick from Michigan, and we talked about, obviously, those bad storms in Michigan.
You know what else is from Lansing, too?
What?
The Catholic TV Monthly.
Yes.
Is printed in Lansing, Michigan.
And you know what else is? Audrey Summers. Audrey joins us now. She's from Michigan, and Audrey is the producer and host of Stories of Faith, Megan's Miracle, which will premiere on Catholic TV Network next month, the week of April 23rd. Audrey, thanks so much for being with us today. How are you?
I'm doing fine, and thank you, Jay and Father Reed, for inviting me on your show today.
Absolute pleasure.
We look forward to it. Audrey, tell us about Stories of Faith.
Okay, Stories of Faith is an inspirational and heartwarming TV show featuring Catholics facing their trials and tribulations, whether it's a health, financial, family, or career-related problems, and how they turn to their faith in God in time of need. Now, it's shot on location, going to people's homes like reality TV, and produced in a news magazine format. Now, the pilot episode is Megan's Miracle, which everybody's going to see next month. And it's just a beautiful story. Actually, a beautiful story of tears and sorrow, but joy and love and the dignity of human life that really you are going to see and renew the faith of Catholics who see it.
Audrey, this is Father Reed. You know, we're so excited and so happy that you are sharing this tremendous work with us. Next month, we're looking forward to it. What motivated you, should I say, to want to share Megan's Miracle?
I wanted to share this to people because of what I saw and how this young girl was really an evangelizer, drawing converts to the Catholic faith, bringing people to prayer, but most importantly, the faith of her family, her parents, her two sisters and brother who care for her and love her so much. A little girl whose smile lights up a room, yet the little girl is on life support. She's on a ventilator and a feeding tube, and she requires 24/7 care. And I wanted to show a symbol of faith in God and a reflection of the Catholic Church's teachings on the dignity of human life. And in this story, we see that.
It's very clear, just hearing the inflection in your voice, Audrey, that this story moved you personally.
It surely did. When you see this little girl with her long, curly red hair and the beautiful bedroom her parents have with the purple and the saints all around her of pictures, and the kids just fight to be with her. Her brothers and sisters, give her medicine and care for her. And when you see her mother, Ellen, smile and read her sacred scripture each day, and how her dad has worked so hard to keep everything together because he had to, take up a home-based business so he could be with his family and support them and still maintain the kids still go to Catholic school. But in all, it's a story that is really heartwarming. It'll bring tears to your eyes because the little girl suffered a seizure when she was 3 months old, and they took her to the hospital. The doctors couldn't diagnose it, and numerous times she was helicoptered to the hospital again and again until eventually she suffered a grand mal seizure. And that's when a neurologist told assaulters that it would actually take a miracle for Megan to survive and suggested they remove her from life support. But Mike Salter said, no, our family believes in miracles and we're not going to kill our child, especially with some doctors saying Megan's organs were okay. So they asked the doctors to do what they could. They put Megan in a drug-induced coma in an attempt to stop the seizures, you see. But she lied in that coma for 8 days until she was anointed by a priest. And that's when Father John Ricardo came to administer extreme unction. And get this, as soon as he did, the violent seizures stopped. Isn't that something?
That is something, and that hence the name Megan's Miracle. It's so important to share our faith experiences, Audrey, and I know you're very active in your parish. Aren't you involved in training lectors?
Oh, indeed. In fact, lectors at my parish as well as throughout the Archdiocese of Detroit and nationwide, too. I've been doing a lot of conferences and speaking engagements on the East Coast there, where you gentlemen are. And what I do is I conduct interactive lecture workshops for a full faith formation experience, providing spiritual, liturgical, and speech, vocal aspects of being a lector to make the Word of God more meaningful to parishioners.
Nice.
And I also videotape the lector's proclamations. We have playbacks so they can actually see and hear how they come across to the congregation.
Well, Audrey, thank you so much for being with us. Where can people learn more about your work?
They can go to lectortraining.com, share with me their own stories of faith, and if anybody wants to sponsor one of these shows, I welcome that. And I have lots of ideas for further shows, including profiling Catholic athletes. So there's a lot to go with this TV series, Stories of Faith.
Well, Audrey, thank you for sharing it with the Catholic TV Network. We're thrilled that you did, and we'll have you on again. You're good stuff.
Oh, thank you so much, Father Reed, and thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
All right. God bless you.
Kevin, what's going on around the world in the Catholic faith?
All right, thanks, Jane. Father, hello, everyone. It is time to take a look at the news. We begin from the Vatican. Before beginning his weekly general audience, Pope Benedict XVI blessed and rang the official International Eucharistic Congress bell. An Irish delegation led by the 2012 Congress President, Archbishop Diarmuid Martin of Dublin, presented the Pope with a small brass bell, which has been on tour across Ireland in preparation for the World meeting in June. Congress organizers said 250,000 Irish pilgrims have rung the bell since the start of its pilgrimage, March 17, 2011. The bell has been brought to parishes, schools, nursing homes, and hospitals throughout Ireland to raise awareness about the Eucharistic Congress and to call people to attend the event, which will take place in Dublin, June 10th through the 17th. According to tradition, St. Patrick left a bell in every church he consecrated as a way to call people to the Eucharist. The theme for the 50th International Eucharistic Congress is the Eucharist, communion with Christ and with one another. The delegation also presented the Pope, who will not attend the event, with a medal commemorating the Congress and a bowl of Irish shamrocks to mark the March 17th Feast of St. Patrick. After meeting with the Irish delegation, the Pope addressed about 10,000 pilgrims gathered in St. Peter's Square for his general audience. He continued his talks looking at prayer depicted in the Acts of the Apostles and the letters of St. Paul. Looking now at news from around the country, the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops has released a statement standing against the Health and Human Services mandate that requires nearly all employers provide free coverage of contraceptives and sterilization to employees through health insurance. The bishops vow to continue their defense of religious liberty in the courts, Congress, and the White House. The 5-page statement titled United for Religious Freedom was approved by the USCCB's Administrative Committee, made up of USCCB officers, committee chairman, and an elected bishop representative from each of the USCCB's geographic regions. The bishops opened their statement thanking all who have stood firmly with them in their opposition to this unjust and illegal mandate. The bishops said the church is not forcing anybody to do anything, but rather that the government was forcing the church to go against church teachings. The bishops said that the debate over the contraceptive mandate is not a Republican or Democratic, a conservative or liberal issue. It's an American issue. The bishop said that what especially concerns them about this contraceptive mandate and the narrow religious exemption to it is the new definition of who they are as a people of faith and what constitutes their ministry. Looking now at news from around the world, as society becomes more tech-savvy, so do religious congregations. According to the study Virtually Religious Technology and Internet Use in American Congregations, email usage by congregations, which was at 22% in 1998, soared to 90% by 2010. The study said that in 2010, only 7% of congregations surveyed used neither email nor the internet, but 2/3 used them both. The study covers the past decade and was released this past week. The study's author, Scott Thuma, said if you put all the technology that was asked about in the survey together, you would find that 1/4 of all congregations are major users of technology, 1/3 are modest users, and 42% are marginal users. Thuma is a professor of the sociology of religion and director of distance education for the Hartford Institute for Religion Research at Hartford Seminary in Connecticut. The study looked at Catholic parishes as well as other Christian and non-Christian congregations. The study did not find that the number of congregations running their own websites that actually did drop from 77% in 2007-2008 study to 69% in the 2010 study. And it also found that 41% of congregations have a page on Facebook, which was not even asked about in the earlier survey. And finally in the news, the Pontifical Council for the Laity is setting the record straight on why it has withdrawn its support for the Clericus Cup soccer series. Contrary to reports from Italian news outlets, it is not because players and fans were being too rowdy, but because organizers weakened their focus on the importance of human formation. Legionary of Christ Father Kevin Lixie, head of the Laity Council's Church and Sports Desk, said the Cup, which is a tournament between seminarians studying in Rome, is something the Council has supported since it started in 2007. He said they withdrew their sponsorship because the organizers neglected to offer, as they had other years, a seminar aimed at helping the future priests develop values-based sports initiatives and pastoral programs in their parishes. Now the Pontifical Council for Culture, which has just opened its own sports desk, has decided to sponsor the Clericus Cup tournament. While the Laity Council's sports desk focuses on formation and acts as a point of reference for sports organizations and sports groups, Cardinal Gianfranco Ravasi, president of the Cultural Council, said they made the move because they are interested in the cultural phenomenon of sports. The Italian Conference of Catholic Bishops continues to be a sponsor of the Clericus Cup. Some unique features of the Cup include players praying before and after each game, and blue sin cards, which is a 5-minute expulsion from the game for players who get carried away and need time to cool down. And the series also breaks ties in the final playoffs by advancing the most angelic team, that is the team with the least penalties garnered during division play. And that is all the news we have for you on this Friday, March 16, 2012. Let's go back over to Father and Jay with more of This Is the Day.
Kevin, thank you very much. Hey, Kevin, one thing quick, though.
Sure.
Love the hat that's right in front of you. Can you put it on just with the green shirt? I just got to see how it looks.
Tell you what, I'll do that at the end of the show.
At the end of the
show?
show?
Yeah, we'll keep people hanging on.
Okay, very good. Well, thanks, Kevin. We'll see you a little later on. And, of course, we had the opportunity to speak with Father Tad.
Yeah, you did actually. Jay had a chance to talk with Father Tad Pacholczyk about the so-called HHS Mandate. I think you're going to find it very enlightening, so take a look and listen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jay Fadden. Thank you so much for joining us today as we continue here on This Is a Day. Father Tad Pacholczyk is with us, and he is the Director of Education of the Ethicists at the National Catholic Bioethics Center in Philadelphia. And he's, you know, we're really thrilled to have you here today because we have a lot to talk about, and we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, well, thanks, Jay. I'm glad to be able to be with you.
Well, you've done some great stuff for us in the past, and sadly, it's sad that we have to sit here today. Let me just say that, because there is the HHS mandate that the government is trying to push through that has ramifications that I don't believe that all of us understand. Let's start with the basics, Father. Tell us about the HHS mandate. What actually is it?
Well, it's a mandate that was passed on January 20th by the Health and Human Services that basically requires that there be provision to provide coverage for contraception, for direct sterilizations, and for other approaches to contraception that actually are known to be abortion-inducing. So what this means is you have to have insurance companies paying for, or not only insurance companies, but anybody who provides insurance, any large employer, will have to cover these procedures. Now, these interventions that cause abortions are a real concern. I mean, all of the issues are, but this in particular, this would be the morning after pill, for example, Plan B, or there's a new drug out there that's called ELA, E-L-L-A. It is another morning after pill that can be taken up to 5 days after unprotected sex, and is known to, at least, you know, this is described by the FDA as one of the mechanisms of action is that it prevents implantation of human embryos into the uterine wall. So this is causing an abortion, in effect. So there's concern that this is a form of compulsion, that's a form of coercion over the church, over people of religious persuasion, requiring them to act against their own consciences and actually to fund the provision of these morally problematic approaches. So I think the situation is pretty grave. This is a direct violation of conscience that is, in a sense, bureaucratically mandated with penalties. So those who don't, you know, get on the bandwagon, there are very, very significant penalties per employee that no company could realistically afford. So it's a great concern that this is government intruding into the religious life of the church and directly and plainly violating the First Amendment here, which, you know, insists on this separation of church and state, where the government cannot tell churches how to run their business, or, you know, which aspect of your particular ministries really are Catholic and which ones really aren't. It's not the government's place to be running that kind of show.
And yet, here we are today talking about this because that's exactly what the government is trying to do. And it seems to me to be just horrendous that they are telling not just Catholics, but anyone who believes in the dignity of life that, well, that's fine and good, but we're going to make you do something that is counter to the fiber of your being. how do we get from freedom of religion to this point?
It's an amazing thing because, I mean, we always talk about, oh, don't impose your views on the rest of us. And the whole abortion debate was framed this way. Went on for years and decades. You know, if you don't want an abortion, or if you think it's wrong, don't have one kind of language. And now everything has been turned upside down, where because we didn't take strong and principled positions and defend them well in the public square, we find ourselves in this incredible situation where now the other side is saying, we're going to impose it on you. We insisted that you not impose on us, and now, full circle, we're going to impose it on you. We're going to mandate it. We're going to put all kinds of penalties and other requirements. So this is a move towards a radical governmental control. Very disturbing, very troubling. You know, the kind of thing that one would see in socialist types of governmental settings. Not the proper place at all for, you know, the government of the United States to be doing something like this. A strong break with the preceding tradition of you know, hundreds of years of respect for religion. You know, Cardinal George wrote a brilliant editorial on this recently in his archdiocesan newspaper, and you know, he really was reacting strongly and saying that we wish that we still had the kinds of protections that we thought we had, you know, a mere few months ago. But we see how quickly things can change and erode.
And trampling, as you said, on the First Amendment of the Constitution. There's great misconceptions here. It seems as if the government is framing this as this is just a contraception issue, but it's much more than that.
It is much more. And again, Cardinal George in his editorial, I thought, brought this out so nicely. He said, look, they're trying to divide the Catholic bishops from the faithful here. And the way they're doing it is they're turning it into just a discussion about reproductive rights, you know, and contraception, and trying to paint this, pigeonhole it as kind of a minimal Catholic concern. But he said, look, it's contraception today, true, and it's also abortion-inducing drugs and direct sterilizations, but tomorrow it could be euthanasia, it could be physician-assisted suicide, it could be any of a range of other issues that could be, you know, pushed here for the same purpose of violating religious freedom. So you're using, you know, this other side argument to distract attention from what is a power grab over the issue of true religious freedom and safeguarding that as it is meant to be within our society.
And here we are. We're obviously, you're a priest, I'm a Catholic, and yet this is not just about Catholics. I think that's what we need to make clear here, is that another argument is, well, it's the Catholics are against this. But a lot of people are just look at this and say, no, this can't happen.
Absolutely. And, you know, there have been a lot of responses to the HHS mandate from non-Catholics that have been very helpful, I think. I was reading the other day in South Florida, 2 or 3 different rabbis had given, you know, great commentaries on this and said, you know, we're with the Catholic League on this one. This is very clearly not just an issue about contraception. This is truly about religious liberty, religious freedom, freedom of conscience. And we have to be careful here because there's some significant government intrusions that are taking place. And, you know, there was a letter to the editor that came into the Wall Street Journal a number of weeks ago on this issue. And it said basically this. The woman said, look, I'm a supporter of Planned Parenthood, and I've taught all my kids about birth control, but I am highly offended by the arrogant approach of the government, thinking that they can dictate to a religion how they're going to conduct their affairs. And I thought, you know, that's the truth of the matter here. It's not about some particular, you know, creedal aspect, some little detail of religious teaching, but a much bigger question about religious freedom and safeguarding that.
So how do we educate people? What do we do? What is the steps we need to take to stop this?
Well, I think one of the problems here is that the Obama administration has made a very clever tactical move. What was this move? They came out with a accommodation.
2013.
Yeah, I mean, this was just, well, the accommodation was to basically say that the Catholic Church would not have to directly pay, but it would be foisted onto the insurance companies, who would then have to approach the women who are employed, provide these measures, and so on. It just sort of was a shell game.
Right.
It didn't actually, you know, the Church still will have to pay for coverage of morally objectionable provisions and procedures. So that move by the administration made everybody say, oh, there's been a compromise. Oh, everything is fine. Oh, you know, the battle is over, basically. And it actually did not change the substance of the mandate. What's very interesting is that the mandate language has to be entered into the Federal Register, and it was entered in unchanged form after the accommodation was offered. So no change to the substance of the mandate itself. People need to be aware of that. And once they're aware of that, I think they can begin to realize we've got to get activated on this. We have to support some of those measures that are being directed towards repealing this and towards safeguarding the conscience of healthcare providers, of those who provide insurance, and others of that type.
So we have to stay on top of this.
We do.
Because no accommodations, there was no compromise.
That's
and yet
correct.
people are saying there was, there never was.
And there never was. And the bishops, you know, have been very clear about this. The USCCB has a good section of their website on conscience protection. And I really encourage people to visit that, get a little more informed. You know, on first hearing it sounds pretty complicated, but it's not. I mean, it is just an issue here of forcing those who have serious moral objections to immoral procedures in medicine to actually fund them directly.
It's unbelievable.
It's an unbelievable mandate.
It is unbelievable.
But once people get that core or that nugget objection, then I think we can, you know, take steps that will push this back.
Well, Father, thank you for coming and joining us today. I'm going to invite you back again because there is a lot of different things out there that we need to talk about.
Well, I really look forward to it. It's always great to be on your show, Jay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And now back to more of This Is the Day.
Well, we're back, and we only have about a minute left, but thank you very much for doing that, Jay. That was a great interview.
He was wonderful to come in. You know, I had called when I just said, could you come in, Father? And he said, when do you want me? And there he was. So we're going to put that on Facebook and on YouTube.
Perfect.
And we ask that people remember, too, our prayer box that's back there. Yeah. And as we go, we have
You're not wearing your hat, Jay. What's the matter?
Well, I'm the only one who has a pin, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I did notice that.
I put on this one?
Yeah, finally some green on Jay.
Really? We'll see tomorrow. I'll be wearing it.
For the Mass?
Yeah, I'll be wearing it in the Mass. Hey, once again, happy birthday to Caitlin Bowles and good luck to my girls' basketball team. You can't take me serious with this, can you? Yeah. And know that all of you, especially our great friends in Michigan right now, are in our thoughts and in our prayers.
And it's been great being with you for another episode of This Is the Day, and we ask God's special blessings upon you through the intercession of St. Patrick of Ireland. May Almighty God bless and protect you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, whether you're Irish or not. Thank you so much for joining us here in the Catholic TV living room. We love coming into yours. Have a great weekend, and Aaron Gobra.